Hello, beautiful women within the temple group. Hello, YouTube followers. Dominika here, and today I am coming to you with a lot of joy in my heart, with a very beautiful, very substantial, very important message from Yeshua that he shared with me. And when I started to write it down, everything else started to fall into place. And I would like to share this message with all of you because it is related to financial struggles, financial issues, control. And he shared with me some very important information on what is actually happening when we are trying to control money. Why we should immediately release any control related to finances and allow God to step in and to look after us, provide for us, even especially when we are in some very difficult financial situation, meaning if, for example, you have a lot of debt, if you have found yourself in a very uncomfortable, very difficult financial circumstances. So I'm gonna start by recapping something that I mentioned during the last video or last broadcast, and also before I'm actually gonna start, I just wanted to say that Facebook changed its rules and it's removing every single broadcast from the groups that has been on the wall for 30 days, meaning all the old broadcasts will be disappearing after 30 days. So what I will be doing, I will be downloading them, uploading them to YouTube, and then reposting the YouTube link so they can actually stay on the wall. But if you will be seeking for certain videos, certain information, you may want to seek for the YouTube recordings rather than actual broadcasts because they may be already removed. So this is just a technical information. So now about the money, it's now about everything that he shared with me this afternoon, and I am truly so grateful because it relates to so many different avenues, so many different other topics that we already spoke about, including the full surrender of the divine feminine when she can fully relax in her lower chakras. And a lot of women is struggling to fully relax because we simply feel unsafe. And we often feel unsafe because we feel like if I'm not going to control everything, who is going to do that for me? I don't feel safe, and therefore I don't really want to surrender. I don't really want to let go of the control. And today we will specifically focus on money. In my broadcast 2 days ago, I said to you very briefly that we come here whole, and then we have the split mind, the ego mind, that makes everything appear as separate from us, and everything that is outside of us still represents something within us. And money itself actually represents the life force energy within us, the breath. You can say that when you're struggling financially, when you feel like you don't have enough money, or maybe you don't have money at all, you feel like you are losing your breath. You may have this kind of panic attacks. What's going to happen? How am I going to survive? How am I going to survive? Money itself is an energy as absolutely everything else within the external matrix. It's exactly the same like potato. Potato is an energy and money is an energy. But we already said before that within this 3D very manipulated, corrupted matrix, money has been used, money as a physical representation of the life force energy, has been used to as a tool of manipulation, as a tool to actually create a lot of fear within us, as a tool that later also created a lot of differences between people, a tool that started to really describe and own our worthiness, a tool that started to control a lot of aspects in our lives. And money, of course, in this whole procedure, this whole attack, on the human spirit, on a human soul, is innocent, because money is just an energy, as I said, as a potato. Money, as a life force energy representation, it likes to flow, and it flows freely everywhere where there is no resistance in receiving money, where there's someone or the receiver that enjoys the life force energy, enjoys life, enjoys exploring life. So wherever there is a being, a human being that is dreaming and is desiring to explore more and more of life, the life force energy, aka money, flows there because it wants to support itself, right? So what happens when we are struggling financially and we don't have this awareness? Well, of course we start to worry, and of course we start to control the money. And we can try to control the money, for example, by restricting ourselves in terms of how much we are going to spend, or we are not going to spend at all at certain things because we don't have enough, or I'm scared I'm gonna lose too much and it's not gonna come back to me. And we are starting to emit a lot of fear, a lot of control. And of course, what is actually happening, the whole situation, the money situation, not the money, it is not the intention of money, but the way it flows to us, it starts to control us. It starts to control our life force energy, right? Because when we think that by our applying our control, we are somehow making sure that we will have at least enough, that we will somehow survive. We are controlling every single penny. The whole situation, of course, controls back to the sense the control, back to us, because it is showing us the mirror, what is happening on the internal level. Now, when the situation with money starts to control us, aka the life force energy that we are trying to control controls us, what we are actually controlling is our own life force energy. Because when we are not allowing money to flow freely to us, it will affect the way we live, whether we travel, whether we allow ourselves to go out, whether we allow ourselves to go and explore something with life. So it's like we are creating this very, very trapped situation, very, very much like an imprisoned situation, because there is nothing wrong, there is nothing worse than the restriction of the life force energy within us. Now, we can say that when we are worrying about the money, we are having toxic thoughts. And everything that we create within this reality starts with a thought, right? Right. So when we are having those toxic thoughts around the life force energy, we are creating thoughts like, I am scared I'm not going to have enough money, for example. So what in truth we are really saying for the subconscious mind, which sees everything as a symbol and sees money as a symbol, it receives a message, I am scared I'm not going to have enough life within me. I'm scared I'm going to lose all the money. I'm scared I'm going all of my life force energy, meaning I'm scared I'm going to die. What is then the subconscious, not trying, but what is creating within our reality? What it's creating more and more decrease. It's actually creating situations that are filled with so much fear that we are actually going to lose everything, that we are actually going to die. And bear in mind that fear of death is the subconscious deepest fear of survival, and it's affecting directly our, of course, root chakra. You need to bear and remember that every single thought of yours matters. Every single thought of yours creates your reality. But the subconscious, your eyes, everything you imagine, everything you are looking at is a symbol for the subconscious. So you need to be very conscious of what kind of symbols you are passing on to your subconscious mind. Because when we are creating those toxic thoughts, the subconscious will try to manifest it in all the possible ways. And how can possibly a toxic thought that says, I'm scared I'm going to die, or I'm scared I'm not going to have enough life force energy manifest? It can manifest in a toxicity, in actual physical toxicity, for example, in a form of addictions, meaning I manifested something physical that will now manifest for me something that will kill the life force energy within me. Or we are starting to develop very toxic behaviors because ultimately it will lead to some form of physical disaster, just so the manifestation of this false illusion, false idea can manifest. Remember that the subconscious, it's not doing that on purpose, because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between good or bad. It receives the symbols from you and it is trying to constantly manifest it for you. I am now speaking about that with so much, excitement. But in my personal life, I went through a lot of financial fears, a lot. And I will share just a little bit for you so you can see it from my perspective, how my subconscious mind was manifesting the lack of fear and why I was so scared of letting go of the control over money and what it was doing in my life. So, life force energy within us is the breath. We are breathing, therefore we are alive. And in my personal life, I had 2 near-death experiences where I lost my life for a short time because of the loss of the actual breath. If it wasn't for a very deep and very informative journey with ayahuasca, because I was struggling financially a lot, but I went to the ayahuasca ceremony because I was seeking spiritual healing and advancement and growth. And ayahuasca showed me that actually my toxic ego, my subconscious mind holds a belief that if I'm going to let go of control of money, I will be letting go of my breath. And whenever I was trying to, not knowing about this belief, to let go of the control of money, I was experiencing panic attacks. I was literally experiencing panic attacks. Those who know me well know about my financial stories, and they can confirm that at times it was really bad, and they could not understand what is happening. I would work with coaches about money, finances, and just wasn't working. So ayahuasca kind of showed me where was this fear coming from and why there was so much resistance within me from letting go of this control. I didn't realize that what I was doing by holding on, to this control over money and not allowing God to look after me, to help me with my finances, to help me with my debt, I was killing my life force energy, because that brought a lot of feelings of disappointment in myself, feeling like a failure, a lot of actually jealousy that others are doing it and I can't. I was losing the hope, the faith, the trust, because what I was also doing was that I was breaking. I was literally dying inside of myself. My heart was broken because I felt that I can't trust God. Why can't I trust God? And God was always so important to me. So I start to realize, thanks to Yeshua, that every single time we are holding on to some control, we are really killing ourselves. We are holding ourselves like hostages. And I really like the way he twisted the words, and he said, instead of saying I'm worrying that I don't have enough money, say I'm worrying that I don't have enough life force energy. And he also starts saying, look how ridiculous it sounds. whatever you ask for will be given to you, and there is no lack. You have access to all the resources. Ask and you will be given. And we had this very profound conversation because of the stages of the surrender I am going through in my personal life, and I've been asked to share this with you because he really urges everyone that struggles in any area of the life. But I'm going to speak about other areas in the coming days. Today specifically about money, to let go of any fears around money ASAP, and let go of any control around money, regardless of where is your financial mindset at right now. If this is holding you hostage, if this is affecting your life, if this is pushing you into a version of you where you forgot how to be happy just because you are alive, where by trying to survive, you are actually disconnecting from life, you are disconnecting from yourself, you are disconnecting from your children, because you are constantly being kept captive inside of you, and you simply don't know how to get out. He is asking you, give it to me. Let go of this control, and I will show you what can be done. I will show you that the impossible can be shifted just like that overnight for you. So this is his message for anyone who struggles financially. Let go of all the control and give it all to me. Now you may ask, what does it mean, let go of all the control and give it all to Yeshua? You need to make that choice within you. You need to make that choice within you. And now here is the thing. It's not always so easy to actually sit down and with yourself and make that choice. Why? Because if we lived for many years being captive, being living like hostages of our own mind, we kind of forgot that we have this choice, or we forgot how to make strong leadership-like choices for ourselves. We are used to being controlled and listening and being obedient to the circumstances that are outside of us, instead of knowing that God is within us and God created us sovereign, and we have everything, absolutely everything within us to create the life that is filled with love and peace. So I completely understand that when I say go and sit with yourself and make that choice, it may at the beginning feel very uncomfortable, or it may actually feel like you are not kind of connecting to that choice. You are not connecting to that decision deep within your heart, and you are standing up for it, right? So don't worry about that, because if you are experiencing it, all you need to do is say to yourself, it comes from the Course in Miracles, I feel worried, for example, that I am not experiencing this deep, decisive voice within me, because I am looking at something that there is not. Meaning, if I am experiencing myself as someone who forgot how to make choices, who forgot how to feel connected to this decisiveness inside, it means that I am experiencing a version of me that is an illusion. Because the true version of you is the divine being. So even if you feel like it, don't fall for it. Okay, this is how it is right now, but this is not the true me. This is not the true me. So I'm not following up on that feeling that I don't feel decisive enough, and I go then, oh, it's not going to work for me because I don't feel it inside of my heart. So the manifestation of it's not going to work. No. All God wants you to do is to be very wary of who you are and who's making that decision. And remember when Jesus said, all you need is that little tiny mustard grain of trust and faith. Go and repeat that choice every single day. Every single day. And what does it mean that I am giving away the whole control over my finances, over my money? It means that you are giving it to him, and you do not interfere with your thoughts. Because when you are interfering with your thoughts, you are interfering with your distorted way of creating reality that will be filled with some form of lack and lack of trust in God again. You need to detach. You really, really need to detach. Jesus said to me this morning when I went for a walk with my dog, everything that holds power over you, Dom, needs to go. In this process you are in right now, everything that holds power over you, every tiniest fear, every tiniest illusion, it needs to go. It needs to go. Nothing can have power over you because nothing has power over you. It's just an illusion. So Jesus said to me, you are releasing everything. It's either all or nothing at this stage of your spiritual journey. It's all or nothing. You are giving everything to me. And that was a very wise advice. Why? Because the more you are elevating on your spiritual journey, the more there is this expansion and quantum leaping coming in, the closer you are to God's kingdom door, the truth, the closer you are to that momentum where the veil will finally shuts down and you will realize that you never left God's kingdom, that the new earth was always here. What the dark side, what the devil, what however you call it, will try to do, it will go deep inside of you and it will dig out all those fears and make them so big, just so you're not going to make that step further and another step further. And that's when a lot of people, and me including myself, what I did in the past, when those demons are starting to arrive and the matrix is suddenly becoming so scary, you automatically you react with fear and you step away. But thanks to my higher self that I connected through very deeply, thanks to my friend who is a great hypnotherapist, and of course thanks to Yeshua J, I realized that all those times I was reacting to something that was not there. I was reacting to something that was not there. It was a mirage. So now I know that every single time I'm about to expand, the fears or whatever it's gonna come up will be bigger, right? So Jay steps in and he knows what's on the horizon and he's telling me, all or nothing. You need to now give it all to me. And you need to walk through that bridge that is made solely of trust and faith. I am passing on his words to all of you. Do not allow yourself to be led by illusion. Why is this so? We are here to birth the heaven on earth. What does it mean? It means that through certain number of people who incarnated here during the biggest shift in the history of humanity, we have been selected to express externally the kingdom of God that we finally find within us. And the kingdom of God is knowing that the only law that you can respond to is God's law, that the only truth that you will live accordingly to is God's truth. You need to realize that this external matrix is actually being built upon human-made, man-made logical laws that do not apply to God's laws. How many miracles Jesus performed? How many impossible scenes we can learn from the biblical times when the ocean and the sea splits because someone decides to listen to God, not to the logic, not to the illusion. And we are now entering a time where our trust and faith and the truth, the honesty will be tested a lot. I don't know what is about to happen, but I shared with you 2 days ago that there is something in the air. There is something coming where all we will have will be our trust and faith. our trust and faith. About the trust and faith and the safety, what Jesus said to me today as well is this, that of course it was, well, he didn't use these words, I'm using this now, but I wouldn't like to, you know, cross any boundaries, but our root chakra has been distorted, in my opinion, not Jay's opinion, of course, on purpose. So we are easy to be manipulated. So it's easy for this fear to be triggered within us. So it's easy for us to sit in our head, the place that has been hijacked, manipulated, programmed the way they wanted us to be programmed. And so our reptilian brain can take over, right? But one thing that Jay said to me was, what was happening in my life, I was programmed that money is something that is making me feel safe. When I don't see money on my account, I don't feel safe. I immediately I was jumping into my headspace, reptilian brain, trying to figure out how to make more money. And of course, it never worked. And I was wondering what's going on with me, well, what's wrong with me, and so on and so on. But he came to me it was a year ago around, to my room literally, and he said, I am your foundation, not the money. I am your safety, not the money. And here I would like to refer to something that he shared with me more lately about our attachment to the physical. It is not our fault, but a lot of it, of course, is our conscious and unconscious choices that we decide to become attached to something external within the so-called physical world. And by the way, there is not much of physicality in this world. But what I mean to say, the new earth paradigm, one of the entry requirements, one of the truth that one needs to embody is that nothing within this physical can heal your spirit, can replace something that you already have within you. You just forgot that you have it. We mustn't be in any way dependent on the external things, whether it comes to safety, whether it comes to us feeling worthy. That's another big topic on money, where money is building our worthiness, for example, financial successes. That needs to go. If that's you, that needs to go. You can have as much money as you want. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's not holding you in a false belief, or you are fooling yourself that it's not because of the money. But if someone would take all this fortune from you and suddenly you feel poor, then you got things wrong. Because God wants us to be only and fully dependent on that. And this is the step towards our sovereignty. Because whenever we are dependent on something, it's taking our sovereignty away. It's starting to create this cage. It's starting to make us less valuable, less able to do, to create, to achieve. It's making us so little that we are forgetting about who we truly are. So God says, Jay says this morning, all that holds power over you, whether it is a sugar, whether this is another person, whether this is money, whether this is alcohol, all needs to go. And you must come to me. And only with me you will feel whole. Only with me you can become sovereign. Only with me you can access the God's kingdom. He said something in the Bible. I never read the Bible, but I remember that he said that those who wants to enter God's kingdom need to come through him, meaning needs to follow him, needs to learn from him, needs to listen from him. And he was trying to deliver all the information that are required to exit the matrix. Because what we were made to believe is that all those man-made laws, regulations and systems that are nothing but external manifestation of the collective ego, of the collective mind, all the wars, it's an external expression of the wars inside of us. We need to realize what is happening, and that whatever man created, God can still override it. God can override everything, as long as you believe. As long as you serve the right master, he said. Who does your heart belong to? He asked Judas. Who does your heart belong to? To all of us. Why? Because it either belongs to fear and illusion, or we finally start listening and integrating the truth, what is truly happening here, and that in God's kingdom there is no slavery. In God's kingdom there is no lack, there is no pain, and there is no death, and we know why, and who showed this to us. Why he has died the way he died. What did he want to show us? That this world is not real. This is not the destination. But we can make and create the heaven on earth. If we start to re-listen to what he had to say those 2,000 years ago, and start integrating and walking this truth. Oh, unless we want to, roll like a ball for another 2,000, by then, I'm pretty sure that the AI will take over this planet. We need to take responsibility for ourselves. And if he's saying everything that holds the power over you, release it, because you are given to the wrong master. And then the master recreates its own circus. Right? So once again, I am sharing this message to basically make you aware that your sovereignty, your liberation, today, as I said, we focus on money, is within the reach of your palm, because you can surrender any financial worry right now, and he will mirror back that choice within you, within your reality, like that. Allow God and see God's making miracles in your life. But just make that choice. Are you ready to be that courageous and give all your financial matters into God's hands? When are you going to trust this calling inside of you and leave that job where you've been mistreated and disrespected and never paid enough? And trust that God has something better, because God will not give it to you unless you show your loyalty to what is holding you captive. God will not step in until you show your loyalty to the wrong master. So, with this word, we are coming closer to Easter. I really would love to encourage all of you who feel burdened, who feel tired, especially women who, for example, are single mothers, and you feel exhausted and burned out. Give it all to God. And if you feel like you would like to connect with Jay, with Yeshua, on a more intimate basis, through me channeling his words for you, you can reach out to me. And I am having a very small sessions organized by his request for those who feel that they lost the touch with God, that maybe the trust and the faith is suffering a little bit. And he has the word for you, specifically for you. If you would like to connect, you can send me a personal message and we can arrange that for you. Okay? Now, I will be coming with more topics around control in the coming days, but please let me know in the comments whether you would like to hear maybe about something else specifically. And we are open to take your questions, and do not fear to ask any type of questions, even if they are personal and you feel okay with sharing them in the group. Feel free to do so, and I will be more than happy to respond to everything and bring those kind of broadcasts that are feeding your soul, that are answering valuable questions for you, okay? I am sending you all a lot of love, and I will see you very soon. Have a beautiful day.